Well, welcome everybody to Trash Talk. Great,
Yes,
great to have you with us.
we're back.
And Brandon is under construction. I like the color scheme.
I'm
Really,
a
really
lot
like the color scheme.
I'm a lot further along than I was, guys. We are having some issues. As you can see, I've got to finish. This is not the quite, we're still under construction, but I can tell you I
Yeah,
recorded an audio podcast the other day, no videos, which I actually tend to like better. I'm just being honest with you. It just reminds me of what they should be. But I understand videos, I get it. And
yeah,
the audio sounded great. My issue now is I got to finish each side so that I can move my desk and figure out this lighting situation. Because when it's higher up, it's a much better light. Now I look like I'm about to tell you a spooky story. Um, and the problem is, though, it's just there's a couple issues. But hey, compared to the last month when I was sitting here in a corner like I got punished for something, and this is a bonus time. So the equipment I got a new microphone, not this one. I got a new microphone. I got a new light stand, new light. I've got a crap ton of eggshells. I'm excited once it's done,
yeah. The
but
the one thing you don't have is the time
I
to
don't have
do
the
it.
time. Yeah. And I thought the purple and black was fun. And they were like, well, why don't you just do a border? And I'm like, look, guys, I want to do a randomization because I think it catches the eye better.
Yeah,
And so, like, I have like black over here, then purple down here, then I'm going to have purple on top. It's going to be fun.
yeah.
We're just going to have to deal with a couple little things like this for now. So
The only down thing that I see is that you like wearing a lot of black,
I
and
do.
and and,
But
and you're gonna kind of blend into the background.
But you know what'll be cool though is so like on this side that we can't see, it's gonna be purple. So if I feel like I'm changing my outfits that day, I just move things.
There you go.
I'm also thinking about getting a bigger desk. But that's like next month.
Yeah. And then what? Are you going to get another room to put it in?
Well, the desk I have now is fine for what it is, but
Yeah.
I prefer a bigger desk because then I want it wider, so that I can scoot things back just a little. And I've got room now that I've got my new bed in place and moved the TV. And anyway, we're not talking about my construction issues. This is Trash Talk.
No, but
Stuart Sax.
actually, what we thought we'd talk about, kind of, it's a kind of a good segue because you're
Okay.
talking about recreating a space and
Yes,
all, and
that's
we
very
were
much true.
we were talking about this growth in our city areas that is you talk about, oh well, growth is good, progress is good, except there what we talked about, and kind of the theme of today is that we're growing concrete instead of growing green space.
Yeah,
We're not providing what a lot of people move to areas for. You know,
I I agree with you. And we've both been in the city. We're city people, but I think, well, I know as I get older, I'm like, I like going to the city. I love the hustle and bustle. I love that there's something on every corner. Not being able to drive is like a big plus.
yeah,
But if I'm not in the city, then I need some green. I need some relaxation. And
well,
the thing here is in Texas, in this part of Texas where we live, it's not forests, it's not massive trees, it's the landscape. And I understand that. You can go almost anywhere in Michigan, you got trees. You go downtown Detroit, there's grass growing where there's no houses.
right.
It's a different climate. I understand that. But because of that, we should be, as we develop as these major cities like Frisco and then Prosper and other cities start to develop, the green is got to be part of it. The scenery, it can't just be apartment, 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 street sign, building, apartment, street sign, little patch of grass. And
Yeah.
what I'm seeing, and I know there's people out there, I'm going to pick on Frisco a little because I want to. But what I'm seeing is the development is there. Nobody's questioning the development. Frisco's grabbing up every piece of land they can, whatever's left, just to throw something on it. Okay, fine. it is what it is. That's not going to change anytime soon. We're not going to get that land back. That being said, they've also have these grand plans for these massive outdoor parks or outdoor shopping complexes, but they're buying the land, they're developing these pretty buildings and these little places for kids to play on these architectural structures that don't even really look like a playground. And then they're
Yeah.
putting in these trees that are no taller than me.
Well, you're absolutely right. Even we just went through this redevelopment of our downtown area, and I do
Yeah.
remember that before they started the project, there were some really nice trees along the sidewalks in
Yes.
downtown Frisco. They eliminated all of that.
Of course they did.
Now they've redone the area, and what do? They put a tree in, and they put brick around it and the little concrete borders around it, and it's supposed to look nice. It looks like a tree in the middle of concrete. That's all it looks
It'll
like. It
be,
looks like what we plant in our backyards sometimes, to just put a tree with a border around it.
they will, and that tree will look great 25 years from now.
Yeah,
30
yeah,
years from now. And I know what you're talking about. That downtown was a mess. We did a whole episode on that downtown.
yeah,
Um, and I understand, we're not going to talk about the planning and all that, but the whole thing was we want to make it walkable. We want to make it enjoyable. Well, you just ripped out all the trees. Now, like there's a street, Oak Street, and it's called Oak Street for a reason, right?
right.
There's some great trees there. But here's the other thing. They've started to, and I know we're talking about Frisco, guys, this happens in other cities, but they
Yeah,
started to and did gut a whole area to put up a parking structure. Then they started to gut up a whole area to put another little four building apartments. Like, we don't, it's not good for us. It's not good for our children.
yeah, and that's a key point, because you and I both grew up north, and let's face it, folks. Where we grew up in the Midwest is a heck of a lot older and more and developed than we are, because
Of course.
we're just taking farmland and ranch land and now selling it off for subdivisions. But I remember growing up, if there was a wooded area in our neighborhood, what they would do is they would plan the neighborhood around the wooded area, preserve the wooded
And
area,
yes.
put up, maybe there was a dirt path through it, and they widened that path and they put asphalt or what, but they preserved what you and I know as forest preserves. And sometimes, when I was a runner, you could go to any one of the forest preserves around the area, and there was at least a 3 mile loop for running, for
Hmm.
jogging, for biking, whatever. And they were not going to tear down even the smallest parcel to put up a bus stop, because they were going to preserve
No.
that forest preserve area. They don't do that
Well,
here.
and it's also like, and there are some great places like that limestone uh, water that Luke and I went to,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
park that we went to. That's in Frisco. It's hidden. Doesn't even feel like Frisco. And then there's some great trails like where the memorial is and the park. That's phenomenal. But overall, when you look at the way that they build these so-called parks, they put in structures that are, oh, that's a really nice looking bench.
right.
But it looks like a nice looking bench or piece of art that should be near an office building, not in a park. It doesn't match it. And then they're like, well, look at all these trails. And it's like a 3 lane cement or concrete or what, or asphalt trail with open green grass and trees that are 4 foot tall. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you just spent billions of dollars on just an open area, and it's like you didn't even know. We have a new one that they're developing, and I forget what you called it. It's been in that park. It's been in that
Grand
lot
Park.
forever. What's that? Grand Park.
Yeah.
But their focus on Grand Park, if I'm not mistaken, is the businesses around Grand Park that they want.
It's an all-inclusive development. It'll have
Uh,
a man-made lake. It'll have
oh,
trails going
great.
around the lake, but there's going to be retail, there's going to be
Of course.
residential. It's like a planned community. The problem
Well,
is it's a planned community that looks good on paper, but when you look at it and you look at the amount of green space, you realize that this entire huge, 100 or something acre development, less than 20% of it is devoted to green space. And
absolutely.
and they want to bring families in. Well, what are families? Kids. Kids need outdoor spaces. And all, and for you to have to get in the car to drive 15 minutes to go to a place where your kid can run around for a couple of miles, it doesn't quite add up to me. We're
It defeats the purpose of going
yes,
to a park.
yes,
Yes, it's fun to be able to I get we can't walk to everything all the time, and it's sometimes you got to pop in the car and go spend the day. That's okay. But my problem is this is just like many other plans where we're going to put in here's some more apartments and condos that nobody can afford, and why would they? And why would they want to live in Frisco if they could? And here's a restaurant. Oh, Starbucks is right there because we can't think of anything else that's creative.
right,
Oh, look, there's a smoothie place and ice cream. It's the same stuff
yeah.
over and over. And then, oh, here's the man-made pond, and there's a loop around it. And I'm like, it's the same. There's multiple. This is Frisco's MO and many other cities' MO. They do these things over and over and over again. And the city council and the mayor and the new mayor are all just like, oh, look at us. Meanwhile, Frisco's got no land, got nothing, no grass. It's got no culture. And then, of
Yeah.
course, the culture that is coming there, they hate anyway. And there's all kinds of stuff. But here I live in McKinney, and McKinney's not perfect. But the one thing that McKinney has is trees and parks and landscape. And yes, they're building a multi-million dollar concert venue. Sure. Yeah. But the mayor and the whole town of McKinney has said our number one thing is nature. When they put trees in, they put trees. Where I live right now, you sit on my patio, these aren't trees. And mind you, I'm not on the first floor. These aren't trees that I can stand next to. These are established. There's cypress and this and all these. And then there's a trail that goes all, and it's a trail. It's covered in trees.
Yes. Yeah.
And you go just across Custer and get into Frisco, and everything changes. And that's the difference. And
Well,
I think if McKinney can do it, other cities can do it.
and that's the concept is rather than taking an area that has established trees and saying, okay, instead of putting these houses, you know, with zero lot lines right next to each other, we'll build a few houses and then we'll leave some of those trees and put a little path to go through it. Then we'll build another few houses. It's the greed aspect of it that is just eliminating this. You go to these new subdivisions and everybody loves the new houses and the designs and everything, and you're mandated to have it a minimum of two trees in your front yard, but that tree is 6 feet tall, and you know that you're going to be 6 feet under by the time that
Mm-hmm.
tree is mature enough to be of a real use.
And I
I
know
don't I don't get it.
people are like, well, you have to move somewhere else. I'm like, but that's not the, it's happening. It's not just, yeah, you can keep moving further north or other parts, but the reality
Yeah, yeah,
is, you look up next to Melissa and Van Alstine, and yeah, there's a lot more land up there, but you also look at what's coming. Okay. I know because I work up there,
that's right.
and you go further than that, you're like, okay, well, I'm in Sherman. Okay, well, I know what's coming to Sherman. And it is an invasive, locust type atmosphere where we come in, we build the same houses, we build the same apartments, we build the same structure. There's no creativity. It's just build, wipe out, build, generic. And everybody's like, well, it's because people are moving here too fast. Well, you can slow that down. There's ways to slow it down. I mean, Texas needs to chill out anyway, you
Yeah,
know?
and the developers need to get more actively involved in this the environmental control too. As I say, it's all about the money. If they can buy a
Hmm.
small piece of property and they can put 100 homes on it, and all
Oh,
that's all they
100%.
care about. The fact that there's is walking paths and trees and green areas and playgrounds for the kids and maybe a pickleball or a tennis court and that for people to be active in, that's not as important because if you put a house on that piece of property, you got another $500,000 coming in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Uh, it- it's it's a shame, and I think it's not going to change anytime soon, unfortunately. I mean, not when you have, places like Universal Studios and, multi-million dollar Jerry Jones trash coming in. And then you also look at other communities,
Yeah.
I mean, Salina's going to be next, and then there are places like that. I mean, it happens in every state, but why can states like, and I think it's the mentality of the state, not just the city. You go to Michigan, and yeah, there's some things like that. There's some, I mean, but whenever you find that empty patch, the trees are there,
Yeah.
the water's there, but you can go to other places. I mean, I mean, as much as I can make fun of California, you can still go to California and see, like,
Yeah. But the point is that we all have to be active in this and deal with the city fathers to say, look, if you're going to build, let's really give a little more consideration to the green space that's already there. These areas that have been there long before we started developing here. Save
agreed.
some of that, protect it. Get some of these areas designated as green spaces that cannot be developed. I mean, to me, my son moved into a very, very large complex and everything, but he built his house in an area where right behind him is a designated area that nothing can be built on. It's mandated that that will always be a green space with a creek running through it, and all, and that's a pleasure. But that's just disappearing, and we're not just talking about where we are in North Texas. This is
No,
happening
it's a
all
lot
over
of
the country.
places.
I
It's
have
a lot of
cousins that are up
places.
in Oregon, and right now Oregon is fighting this same fight because they're trying to take a lot of the forest areas and green spaces and everything to put in more shopping centers and housing developments and all. The people are up in arms, but they are more proactive about it, it seems, than we are.
Very more proactive. What I've noticed around here, and really it's a testament to what's going on in the country, but people will complain. People will go online. People will be social media advocates. They won't do anything when it comes down to legwork. They're too busy, drinking out of their Stanleys and all that. But, the other thing too is that's happening in Texas, and we're not going to dive into that. It might be a different show. But Texas is wide open, just laying down for as much data centers as we can get.
Yeah, yeah,
And those data centers are not parks, and they're destroying
yeah,
property, all for freaking Meta and
yeah,
AI and bull crap that we don't need.
yeah.
And they're not creating jobs, but Texas is all the politicians are taking the money for it.
They're they're
And
they're planting concrete.
it's planting concrete. So that's the situation.
Yeah,
I encourage people to kind of look into that too, and kind of go to the parks and check them out. You don't need kids to go to the park. I mean, don't be a creepy, but you don't need kids to go to the park, man. You can go for a walk. Sometimes having a cup of coffee in the park with your headphones on, that's relaxing.
yes, as long as there isn't a super highway right behind the park.
Yeah, and as long as there isn't,
Yeah,
$15,000 one bedroom apartments.
yeah. So, what we're advocating for is to just be more proactive and be involved in everything and just say, no, we need the green space. We need areas where we can go out and we can breathe and all that. And
Absolutely.
that doesn't mean planting 3 trees in a little area with a park bench that makes it look good.
I agree.
No. All right, go out, make it a good one, folks, and come back see us again next week. All right.
Later.
Bye.